Hi everyone, it's Christine here from Ever After Paper Crafts, and I'm so sorry I had to break this series down into two videos. My camera was acting up and after the first part, so I stopped it, and I didn't want to have to redo everything, so I just decided to break it up into two parts. So this is the card that we are working on today, and it uses this brand new, soon to be released stamp set from Craftin Desert Divas that I'm so excited to be a part of their design team now, and it's called Monster Carnival. In the first part, we went over how I created the background and I started the coloring with my zigs as well. So that's why you see all these zigs all over my table here. So this is what we created in the first video. We did this fun background, and then I showed you what it looked like after I cut it out with the fancy frame die from Craftin Desert Divas. So that's kind of where we were, and then I had also colored this cute little orange monster. So I'm now going to color for you this little cotton candy stand, and then we'll kind of quickly show you the finished card again and go over how you would finish putting the card together. So to color the little stand here, I first used light pink for the little roof with the little awnings on the roof, and I did this I'm doing this very quickly, just very quickly, not really worrying if I'm going to stay in the lines or not really, you know, focusing too much on this. I just want to show you how you can get really pretty shading doing this coloring very quickly. So all I did is I just literally scribbled on a little bit of the marker onto the sides of the little awnings and then pull that color out with my water brush. So you get a really fun shaded look. I also used light pink for some of the cotton candy. The one in the middle I'm going to leave, I'm going to make orange. So I did these two in the light pink and then this one here in the light pink. Now I used light brown for the wood on my, let me zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing with the coloring here. There we go. So now I'm using light brown for the wood on the little stand here where you would go and buy your cotton candy. So I'm just scribbling on just a little bit of ink from the marker onto the side poles here of the wood, pulling that color, and then doing the same thing down here as well, and pulling that color out into the middle. So you just have a nice shaded look here. And now we're going to do the same thing with the bottom portion of the cart. So I'm gonna do what I did with the awning, kind of just scribble some color where it's gonna be shaded. So let's start with that. And we're just gonna go in a circular motion with our water brush and pull that color out or up or whichever direction the white space is. If that makes sense. And do the same thing to the rest of the little wooden slats here of this little cart. And this image is so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh, this is so fun to work with these adorable images. And so now we're just going to spread that marker ink around using our water brush. Really super easy. All right, now we're going to use a different color for the wheel. And I thought I might make it kind of like a darker color, so I decided to use a dark brown. And I'm just going to kind of go around and just add some shade, some highlights to the wheel, kind of just adding some dark spots, and then we're going to use our water brush to blend all of that together. So we're just going to pull, I'm just pulling the color around the wheel. When I get to where I've put on some of that dark color, you just pull the color around. So you do have some shading. It's just what we want to see here. Same thing with the slats of the wheel and the middle of the wheel. I'm just pulling the color out and into the open white space. Okay, and there you have it. Super, super easy and fast coloring. I'm just going in right now and just filling in some of the little spots that I missed. And there you have it. So here's our little monster. And here's our cute little cart that we have done. Oh, I forgot to color the orange. My apologies. Let me color the orange cotton candy super quick. and the sticks that the cotton candy are on. We forgot to do that too. So here's the orange little cotton candy. And now I'm just going to take that dark brown again, and I'm really not even going to bother using my water on this because these little sticks here are such a small space that the water really isn't necessary. So I'm just going to kind of color that in there. And then I also forgot, I'm going to get my light brown back out because I forgot to do this little leg of the cart. All right, so that keeps us all done then. So now we have this fun little scene that we have created. And one more thing that I want to point out here is I decided to cut these images out. Of course, if you have a scan and cut, that would be great for this. It would cut around these images beautifully. I do not, so I just hand cut them. I did not, however, want to cut around these very thin images here. So I decided that I was just going to take a light blue marker here, and I'm just going to lightly kind of put some of that light blue color in, just as kind of a background to the little stand. I just thought that would be so much easier than cutting around all of those very tiny images of the cotton candy. So that was the last step, and then I would cut these out. And as you can see, there's a little bit of white space around the wheel here, and all I did for that is I simply took an X-Acto knife that I just have in my craft room, and I used my craft mat here and simply just cut. There's only 4 little squares you have to cut out, or partial squares that you have to cut out. And I thought that just kind of gave it a really nice look to have that wheel empty. And I'll show you what I mean on the final card here. As you can see, and I'm zoomed in here, but I have that space behind the wheels is open on my final card. Okay, so to finally put the card together, all you would need to do is obviously cut out your little images here. I'm going to zoom back out, and you can see my messy zig covered desk here. So anyway, I would cut the little animals out, of course, the monster rather, and the little cotton candy stand. And then I would pull over. I have a 110 weight card base. This is a Nina 110 pound solar weight cardstock. This is the little panel I did off screen and cut out with the fancy border die from Craftin Desert Divas. I already put some foam tape on the back. So I would peel this foam tape off and then just simply center this in the middle of the white card, note card. So it's very pretty and in the middle, nice and centered for us. And then we would stamp, well, I forgot actually to do this before, but it doesn't matter since I have the foam tape on the bottom here. It would be very easy to just go ahead and stamp your sentiment, even though I've already adhered it to the card base. Ideally, I would have preferred to do that before I put the foam tape on, but I just forgot, so it's really no big deal. Let me go ahead and pull out the sentiment. The sentiment that I'm using is super cute. It says, "Have a monsterlicious birthday." It's this sentiment right here. So I am simply going to put this on an acrylic block, and let me go ahead and get this on an acrylic block here, kind of off camera for that moment there, I apologize. And I'm going to take my same dye ink that I used for the inking of my main images. It's just a nice black, it's Hero Arts dye black ink. And I'm simply going to stamp this sentiment up here in the left hand corner, and I'm going to try not to get my head in this, so I'm going to try to stamp it as straight as I can with my head without getting my head over top of it, so it's in the camera view here. And that looks lovely. So even if you mount it to your card base first with foam tape, you can still get a really nice image. There you go. All right, so the last thing that I would do, as you can see from my finished card here, one of the last things I would do is I would go ahead and adhere my little monster and the stand with foam tape to the card. Now I don't want you to have to watch me cut that out, so I'm going to leave that out of the video. But what I am going to show in the video is adding some Nuvo drops. I used, this one is called Ripened Pumpkin for the orange, and this one is called, let me get its correct name, Carnation Pink. And these are the crystal drops. Now, if you don't have these, you could use sequins, you could use dewdrops, or you could simply leave it plain and you know, just leave it without those items and it would still look beautiful. I love these, however, they're inexpensive and they really are quite pretty. So I'm going to show you how I use them. I hold them perfectly straight up and down and squeeze until a dot starts to come out, and then I lift straight up. Now, if you can see, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but it's got a little point to the dot right now. When it dries, it will smooth out perfectly. So as you can see in the final product, they will look like dewdrops. You know, like a rounded, perfectly rounded top to the little droplet. But just you have to wait for it to dry to get that effect. So I'm just kind of putting these randomly around. There's 2, and we'll do another orange one here, 3. And now we're going to get the Carnation Pink, and we'll put one here. And again, this is random. One there. And I like to do odd numbers, so I'm going to do one more orange. And I know my little critter, my little monster and my stand are going to be right here, so I'm avoiding this space. And I'm going to put one more orange right here. I just like to do odd numbers. And then, of course, our monster and cotton candy stand will be right here at the bottom. And I will pop them up with foam tape. The very, very last step is I just used some baker's twine. This was in the $1.50 spot at Michael's, and it's really thick and pretty, and the pink matched really well. And I just put that along the top of the card and tied a nice little bow. And so that's it, guys. That's the card. Wait for this to dry and wait. It takes several hours for the dewdrops to completely dry and do that rounded top I was talking about before. And I would wait a good 24 hours before I mailed it, because if it goes in the mail and it hasn't been 24 hours, the dots could kind of flatten. So that's just kind of what I do with them in the climate that I'm in. Some people I have learned don't have to wait that long, but it's kind of just play around with it and see what you need to do with that. So here's the final card. It's a very simple card, like I said. This did not take very long to do at all, but I think it's really cute, and these little monsters are a dream to work with. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you'll give this technique of the Distress Ink background a try. It's very easy, and I think that the finished product is quite beautiful. Don't forget to check out Craftin Desert Divas. All of these stamps will be available at the end of release week, and I'm so excited to be a part of their design team. Their images are absolutely adorable, and I can't wait to show you what's coming up the rest of the week. So thank you so much, as always, for stopping by and for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.